Hey guys, Johnny here, Don't Speak News. Well, just a quick update, and none of it is good. So here we go. Military drills are being conducted all around the island of Taiwan by the PLA, that's the People's Liberation Army of China. And they're completely surrounding the island, as you can see here in this map. Now these drills are being conducted in the Taiwan Straits, the north, south, and east of Taiwan Island, as well as the areas around these other islands here. Now, Li Zi, the spokesman for the Theater Command, said the drills serve as a strong punishment for the separatist acts of Taiwan independence forces and a stern warning against the interference and provocation by external forces. I'm sure they mean the United States in particular. And now we go over to Hal Turner. China commences military drill completely surrounds Taiwan, as I just showed you. Here's another source, Global Press, that says China will invade Taiwan in early June. As of now, the Chinese military have begun drills surrounding the entirety of Taiwan, including the islands of Kinmen, Dongjin, state media says. Taiwan was forced to scramble fighter jets and put missile, naval, and land units on alert this morning after China launched huge military exercises around the self-governing island. Beijing said the menacing war games, dubbed Joint Sword 2024A, were a strong punishment for Taiwan following the inauguration of its new president, Lai Ching-te, who is detested in Beijing as a separatist. China claims Taiwan as part of its national territory, and the People's Liberation Army routinely sends Navy ships and warplanes into the Taiwan Strait and other areas around the island to wear down Taiwan's defenses and to seek to intimidate its people. This week's war games are massive in scale. I'll let you read the rest on your own. But like it says here, Taiwan independence forces will be left with their heads broken and blood flowing after colliding against the great undertaking of China, achieving complete unification. That's Wang Wenbin, that's China's foreign ministry spokesperson. And this update comes as the Chinese military has Taiwan literally surrounded, as I just showed you on that map. And like Hal says here, not all military drills lead to invasions, but modern invasions always follow military drills. Recall that China's President Xi Jinping and Russia President Putin had a big meeting together about a week ago. If no one thinks Putin and Xi didn't have a little wargaming session when they met last week, either you're not paying attention or you're just willfully ignorant. Yes, indeed, a lot of people still want to bury their heads in the sand. And it is quite alarming, guys. And go along with that, Japan said that they would defend Taiwan. Well, then China came back and said, well, the Japanese people will be dragged into a fiery hell then. Chinese ambassador to Japan, this Wu Jingho, today publicly announced the Japanese people will be dragged into a fiery hell after Japan pledged to support Taiwan. The ambassador has already been summoned to the Taiwan Foreign Ministry. And like Hal says, wow, that language is so unusual as to be completely unknown coming from any Chinese official. Sounds as though old animosities are resurfacing in Asia. This is not the language used by diplomats. Or are we in a new paradigm? If this is what their diplomat says, can any of us imagine the level of anger and hatred the Chinese still feel against Japan for the rape of Nanking? Sounds to me like someone has some very old scores to settle. Yeah, we can't imagine that all that went away after World War II just ended. I'm sure that animosity is dragged on. So here we go. It's resurfacing now. And then we have this. Russian missiles target British bases in Falkland, Africa, Gibraltar, and Russia says they will be bombed if Kiev hits us. With British weapons, that is. They said that we gave a note to the British ambassador. This ultimatum is in force. So in other words, what's going to happen here, if British missiles start falling in Russia, Russia itself, then the British islands and the Falklands will be bombed, their bases in Africa, Gibraltar, and probably even London itself. Russia has warned Britain today that British military bases will be bombed inside and outside of Britain if Ukraine was, to use their weapons and bomb Russia. The situation is now headed for an open conflict of all parties involved, Russia, France, Britain, and the U.S. I'll just say NATO. We remind you that recently the Russian YPAM reported that Ukraine attacked with 4 AASM-250 Hammer French-style bombs. Security Council Medvedev first revealed that the Storm Shadow Scalp missiles are not controlled by the military, but by the British and French who arrived in Ukraine. So Russia says, in return, we will now hit British targets. That's according to their foreign ministry spokesperson, Maria Zakharova. Said Moscow will respond with blows to British targets if their weapons strike inside of Russia. So I'll let you read the rest on your own, but that's the gist of it right there. And then D-Day has arrived for China and the U.S. The issue of days is the invasion of Taiwan. Washington decides to send the aircraft carriers. So alarm has been sounded in the U.S. military as there's been a leak from China for the first time about the launch of an invasion. As I just showed you, that looks like early June. There's a lot of turmoil in the United States over the sudden development. Everything shows that D-Day for China and the U.S. is approaching dangerously as U.S. Navy leadership and the Security Council, and this translation is terrible from Google. So they say this next period is considered particularly crucial. China has already begun a surprise mobilization aimed at the naval blockade of Taiwan, as I just got done showing you. So they say that they're going to attack in early June, guys. And like Hal said, drills always precede a major D-Day type invasion. So it could very well be next. And then, of course, with Russia sitting ready to hit targets, UK targets outside of the UK and outside of Ukraine, then they're going to do it. If UK missiles keep hitting inside of Russia, which they will, they're not going to stop this. Nobody's going to stop this. This is the tribulation hour. This is wars, rumors of wars that Jesus talked about. And we're rapidly approaching his second coming. So get ready. It could happen anytime. Lift up your heads. Your redemption draws nigh. Wow. So much going on today, guys. Even if I wasn't moving and completely distracted by that right now, it would be a lot to keep track of. So I'll do my best. Just wanted to give you guys a quick update and show you what's going on right now, at least with war news at the present time, because that seems to be what's jumping off the screen to me this morning. And that's it for now. Please keep us in your prayers as my wife Lisa and I continue our move. This is the big push right now as we get ready to make the final move on this coming Tuesday. But wow, there's just so much stuff you never think about and find when you're moving. So thanks for all the prayers and all the support. Appreciate you guys. All right, keep your head on a swivel. Prayed up and prepped up at all times. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.